Senator Matt Canavan, we are here at the inaugural ARC event. It feels like a bit of a getting the band back together though. There's a huge Aussie contingent. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think there's a great hunger for it in Australia for a few reasons. One, we the conservative side of politics, when I say we, in the Liberal and National parties, we lost an election last year, and there's, I suppose, a period of reflection we're going through about why that happened and what were the missed opportunities when we were in government. So now's a really good time to think about what we really do believe in and what we should fight for. I think the other thing that's going on right around the Western world, so Australia's part of that, is there's a level of malaise about why are we drifting as a country. Are we going to deliver a future for our children that's better than what we had? I think a lot of people have questions about that right now on the economic front, on the global security front, and so people want answers, people want a vision, and I think we've all been inspired by this morning's first foray. It's going to be a great meeting of minds here and hopefully lots of growth.
I couldn't agree more. If what we've just sampled with the very first session is just finished, if that's an example of what's to come in the next three days, I think it's going to be amazing. I can't help but notice, and I'm going to be a little bit subversive here and try and cause some trouble. I can't help but notice though, I can't help but notice that there is a massive Liberal Party, Australian federal and also a few state Liberal Party contingent here at the event. The ARC have released a number of studies or a number of papers in the last week or so that have really laid out their vision in more detail, and they really do reject the concept of net zero as being a step forward for mankind. Simultaneous to that, whilst we have an enormous Liberal Party contingent here, we have Peter Dutton, the leader of the federal Liberal Party in Australia, saying that nothing's changed, we're still pursuing net zero. Is there a civil war coming, or can this I guess tension be resolved in some other way?
Well, look, I'm going to say first of all, it's not just Peter, obviously, it's the whole party has come to that decision. Sure. It's a decision of the party room. I've always been against net zero, said so at the time that decision was made, and I've continued the fight ever since. So, look, I'll let others, if they want to describe it as a civil war or not, but I think the sign of a healthy political party is healthy political debate. And so there should be a debate about our position in regards to net zero. I can wax lyrical about why we should shift that, but I do think it's instructive at the fact here you've got these global leaders, international leaders of broadly conservative thought saying this is the wrong path. We're going down the wrong path here on net zero. And look, I do hope something like this may at least cause the Liberal and Nationals Party have adopted this position too, chime in, the Nationals and Liberal parties to reflect on this decision, to review it. I think in light of the Voice result, we should consider again these policy settings. The Voice referendum showed that when we take a distinctive, clear-minded and principled position on issues, we can change the Australian people's minds by presenting a coherent argument. So let's not be afraid of doing that argument ahead of the next election.
Last question before I let you get your morning tea and take a break. The whole theme here is a better story. What happened to our old story? Why do we need a better story now?
Well, look, I think at least in terms of the Australian context, I suppose the problem has been maybe we've slipped into a bit of complacency. My generation really hasn't felt the full brunt of a recession. I mean, COVID in the end didn't matter, it didn't count because the government spent so much money of your money, and we actually, most of us on average ended up better off on average, not everyone, but on average. So look, I do think that level of complacency has led to a malaise, but I think more and more people are realising that now. And therefore there's a hunger for reflection. So if we go with a bold principled policy next election, I think we can win. At a political front, we're not going to win, we're not going to defeat a first-term government being wishy-washy or being shy. So that's the best thing about this conference. Let's not hide our lamp under a bushel. We've got a great story to tell. We've got a positive vision for the Australian people. Let's have the guts to argue for it, even when some of those activists will be very, very upset that we have the guts to do that.
Well, Senator Matt Canavan, a pleasure. Thank you for talking to me.
Great work.
Cheers. Appreciate it.